Tonight on CFTK-TV News, a fire not far from Kitimat is under observation. We look at the damage caused by the wildfires at the town of Jasper, Alberta, and a report also looks over the whole wildfire situation in BC.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin. Here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. A brand new executive director has been named by the North Coast Community Services Society, and the one to take up the position is Michelle McNeil. McNeil officially took up the position on July 22nd, and she previously was holding the job of branch manager / community leader at the Northern Savings and Loan location in the city of Prince Rupert. The main purpose of the North Coast Community Services Society is to provide various services as well as programs that are aimed at providing whatever assistance they can to the residents and families of the Prince Rupert area. The chair for the society, Michelle Crichton, recently expressed her own excitement in addition to the rest of the society's board enthusiasm for the addition of McNeil to their ranks and believe her vision aligns with their own. Even though it has not been a major cause for concern for nearby residents as of yet, the wildfire that is near Extall River and is also located about 67 kilometers west of Kitimat has been continuously monitored by the Northwest Fire Center. Currently, the fire is covering about 113 hectares of the forest and is classified as being held on the BC Wildfire Services online map, listing the location, size, and status of every ongoing fire in the province. It is believed that the blaze was caused by lightning and not by people, with it being discovered all the way back on July 8th. There do happen to be a few properties that are close by the fire, but the BC Wildfire Service is not worried about them being in any danger. Now over to the widespread destruction in the town of Jasper, Alberta. Wildfires have burned historic buildings in the location to the ground, and now fire crews are racing to protect what's left. CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports from near Hinton, Alberta.
This is a devastating day for one of Canada's most iconic tourist destinations. The images coming out of the town site today are difficult to look at. Much of the main areas of Jasper are burned to the ground. The province says 30 to 50% of the town is gone. Homes, hotels, businesses, churches. The situation reached a critical point yesterday afternoon when the larger of two wildfires was pushed towards Jasper from the south by strong winds, causing flames up to 100 meters high, traveling 5 kilometers in half an hour. All first responders, except for firefighters and some incident commanders, were evacuated as the fire approached the town, reaching Jasper just before 7 p.m. We're told every effort was made to protect the town, but they were largely unsuccessful. Helicopters dropping water on the fire was ineffective. It was too dangerous for water bombers to fly, and the bulldozers that were planning to build a fire break along the southern edge of the town were unable to complete that work before being evacuated. Premier Danielle Smith was holding back tears at a press conference earlier today, updating the public on the damage, saying Jasper is a source of pride for Alberta, and her government will be there to rebuild so residents and visitors can continue to experience the magic of the national park.
For many generations, the town of Jasper and the parks surrounding it have been a source of pride. With some of the most beautiful scenery in the entire in the world. Our grandparents visited to experience the majesty of this place with its mountains and lakes and meadows.
25,000 people were evacuated successfully from the national park and the town site, and there are no reports of any injuries. Meantime, the firefight continues as crews from 34 communities have arrived in Jasper to help fight this fire, and the focus has now shifted from wildfire fighting to protecting as many structures and critical infrastructure as possible. Reporting from near Hinton, Jeremy Thompson, CTV News.
And it's been a harrowing last little while for some in BC as well. An out-of-control wildfire near Golden has destroyed homes in a rural area along with other structures. CTV's Michelle Bernoro has that story instead.
Fueled by winds, the Dogtooth FSR wildfire suddenly exploded in size to 5,400 hectares.
The situation changed really quickly with the incoming cold front that we saw yesterday, which really whipped up the winds, changed the wind direction,
The volatile fire forcing the tactical evacuation of 28 properties in Parson, which is near Golden.
BC Wildfire Service, RCMP, and Golden and District Search and Rescue went door to door and tactically evac'd a portion of the community.
The past 24 hours for our community, certainly for me as the director, have been harrowing.
Everyone is safe, but officials say up to 6 homes along with some structures have burned.
It's heart-wrenching. As a community, we will pull together. We will support those families and those individuals.
We have a senior center here, which is like a community hall. That's been really good at taking people in and give them shelter for the time being.
Though some evacuation orders have just been rescinded, more than 1,000 properties remain on evacuation alert. In Golden, residents are closely watching the massive blaze.
That's alarming. It's very nerve-wracking. I tend to take things as they come, and last night was probably the most nervous we've been in town. Everyone I know has packed go bags, gotten ready, packed their cars up as much as possible.
There are 420 wildfires burning across the province, including the out-of-control Shetland Creek fire near Spence's Bridge, which has grown to more than 22,000 hectares.
We saw some increased fire activity yesterday along the eastern flank, and so crews have been performing some small-scale hand ignitions to bring that fire's edge down to the Highway 1.
Though cooler temperatures have helped in some areas, the southeast part of the province continues to see hot, dry weather, and there is concern about what forecast thunderstorms and wind will bring. Michelle Bernoro, CTV News, Vancouver.
Coming up next is a more uplifting story to emerge from BC's fire situation this year. Welcome back. While the wildfires have led to many stories of devastation, there have also been tales of bravery and heroism. CTV's Kevin Chirac has the exclusive story of an 18-year-old woman who helped evacuate more than a dozen hikers from Jasper National Park.
I like to be able to help people. I like the fact that what I do in my work does good.
It's that mindset that inspired Colleen Canal to volunteer with the Enderby Fire Department. And a few days ago, while working a summer job at a lodge in Jasper National Park, her skills and bravery were put to the test.
The smoke was coming up from the mountainside. It was big.
The evacuation order came in Monday night. That's when the 18-year-old took charge, spreading the word to guests and other hikers in the area, including Rebecca Tucker and her family.
She was an amazing leader and was just making sure that everyone was working together and knew the plan.
Canal led the group of 16 on a 4-hour nighttime hike in treacherous terrain.
And there was, more intense smoke. My eyes were burning. There was ash falling constantly.
The sky was bright red. It wasn't black. It was red when you looked up.
Canal's experience in the outdoors and knowledge of the trails paying off.
I had previously rode up a horse up to that lodge on that same trail, and throughout the way, me and my employer, my contractor, we had cut logs on the way up, and I made count. There was 67 logs, so they'd be 67 cut logs on the way down. And so I used my tracking skills, followed horse tracks, horse manure.
She then packed all 16 people in a pickup truck, some with minor injuries, driving them away to safety.
She was just on it, and then she led it the whole way.
The experience further fueling Canal's pursuit of becoming a full-time firefighter.
I do it because at the end of the day, I know I'd want to go home and I'd want to have somebody there to help.
Kevin Chirac, CTV News.
The family of Tori Dunn, a Surrey woman that was killed last month, is frustrated and determined to get answers and changes to the justice system. The Premier is promising to get them those answers by getting a publication ban lifted. But as CTV's Rob Buffin reports, it may not be that simple.
Tori Dunn's family is desperately searching for answers in the Surrey woman's killing.
Everybody's just appalled and we're really angry. And thus far, we haven't really had any answers.
The man accused in the murder in June, Adam Mann, was out on bail at the time, despite an extensive criminal history. Details of his bail hearing are subject to a publication ban. but the Premier Wednesday pledged he'd try getting that ban lifted.
I'm very hopeful, and my expectation is that the prosecutors will be successful in getting that information released.
But it's not that simple. Publication bans are mandatory if an accused seeks one, and in the vast majority of cases are imposed.
In order to ensure that people can have a fair trial, bans on publication of that sort of information are routine.
This criminal defense lawyer says the family's frustration is understandable, but lifting the ban here won't happen.
If there was a ban on publication imposed, that's the end of the matter. There's no going back.
The 30-year-old's death spurred Canada's premiers to send a letter to Ottawa last week, seeking possible further changes to bail laws. The federal justice minister responded online Wednesday, noting, "We listened to the provinces and territories when they asked for changes to the criminal code. Now they need to step up and enforce the law."
At the end of the day, this was our girl, and she was loved by so many people. And it just can't be a finger-pointing situation.
So far, that's all the grieving family has had. The charge against man hasn't been tested in court. His next court appearance is August 19th for another bail hearing. Robert Buffum, CTV News, Victoria.
The Delta Police Department is expanding its use of drones to be used as tools in situations ranging from car crashes to missing persons cases. But as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, privacy experts are concerned about the footage the drones will capture and how it will be used.
The hum of a sophisticated machine. Drones have become a popular tool for police departments to help with their work. Delta Police adding one more drone to its arsenal.
With this, it's the next step where we can have the drone on scene prior to the members arriving.
The $30,000 machine is part of its new Drone as First Responder program. Acting Staff Sergeant Jim Ingram says it will be used to assess car crashes, find missing people, and track down fleeing suspects.
Its primary use is going to be rapid scene assessment. When there's a call for service, being able to get eyes on the scene right away.
The department launched a drone program back in 2019. This machine has infrared technology, a zoom camera, and the ability to live stream. It takes only minutes to launch from the roof of the department to an active crime scene.
A minute and a half and we're on scene, whereas a patrol car might be a little bit farther away, have to deal with traffic.
This is what other scholars have referred to as the militarization of policing.
Experts on police surveillance caution the use of drones, citing privacy concerns.
Transparency becomes even more complicated because we are not entirely sure if or when we're being recorded by police surveillance technologies.
The BC Civil Liberties Association says it believes there is a limited role for drones in policing.
What I really hope we don't see is that these drones being used as a tool of convenience or as a routine part of police operations, because they are potentially quite invasive.
Delta Police say there has to be a legitimate reason for operating them, and that the drones do not record anything unless it's of evidentiary value. The department adds if the new program is successful, it will add 5 more drones. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Delta.
Turning to tonight's weather, the north coast should get a chance of showers, plus a low of 12 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area is set to see partly cloudy conditions, as well as a low of 13 degrees, and the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District will get clear skies at a low at 9 degrees. On the north coast, the next week or so will pretty much be all clouds and a high bouncing from 17 to 14 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, their week should consist of mixed sunny and cloudy days, with some rainy days at the end, with their high moving from 16 to 23 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the upcoming week will deal with a sun day at the start, but rain and clouds other than that, plus a high shifting between 17 and 23 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is limited visibility, utility work, bridge maintenance, construction work, and electrical maintenance. Highway 118 has some bridge construction, and Highway 37 has some paving operations, roadside brushing, and maintenance. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cabs. Still to come, TransLink is asking for a lot of money to avoid big service disruptions. Welcome back. Metro Vancouver's transit provider is warning of severe service disruptions if they don't get their more funding by next spring. TransLink said they're hundreds of millions of dollars short of their budget target, and as CTV's Ben Nesbitt reports, critics are wondering, where has all the money gone?
For months, TransLink has been calling on the provincial and federal governments for more cash.
In 18 months, we run out of money.
The transit provider says it currently has a funding gap of $600 million, releasing a report Thursday painting a clearer picture of what could happen if it doesn't make that up by the end of next year.
Upwards of 50% cuts to bus service, 30% cut to SkyTrain and CBus, potential elimination of the West Coast Express.
Areas with low ridership, including Langley, White Rock, South Delta, and most of the North Shore, would be left with little to no transit. The BC Conservatives are pointing fingers at the NDP government and TransLink for mismanaging money.
We will bring some money to the table for short term to be able to help us bridge through. We need to do a complete audit of what has been going on with TransLink, why these issues are there. TransLink currently has record ridership, and yet they're running these massive deficits.
Last month, TransLink said an outside consulting company reviewed its books, helping cut $90 million from its budget by eliminating jobs, hiring fewer third-party contractors, and increasing fare evasion enforcement, among other things.
What we have here isn't financial management. This is a problem that's being faced internationally by hundreds of transit agencies struggling with a funding formula that, quite frankly, the pandemic broke.
This month, the federal government renewed funding that will give TransLink more than $825 million over the next 5 years. But the transit provider says none of that goes to operational costs, making no dent in the massive deficit. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
After investment in job scams, romance scams are the third most popular way criminals are fleecing Canadians. People looking for love lost over $52 million last year alone. CTV's Pat Ford speaks with two victims, one who was caught in the classic online dating scam and another who actually met her scammer in person.
I feel like he groomed me for 4 years.
Paige Harkness decided to try online dating 4 years ago. While using a telephone dating site, she connected with a man and they met in person twice. He wore a tailored suit, said he flew by private jet, and managed a hedge fund.
He almost always was saying he was flying private, and I had no reason to question it because the success he said he had and the company he worked for.
Harkness says she never saw him again, but several times a year he would send her a text to say hello. Recently, he contacted her to say he had a surefire investment opportunity. She was scammed out of $14,000.
It's going to be $14,000 of my money that I took off on a line of credit against my home.
He asked if I'm single. I said, yes, I'm single. He seemed to be in love with me and he wanted to know more about me.
A woman Will Call Rama asked us not to identify her after she was caught in a romance scam. She was on Facebook when she connected with a man who claimed he was the captain of a cruise ship in the UK. He professed his love for her and started sending her gifts of designer purses, watches, and jewelry. But he claimed it got tied up at the Canadian border and she needed to pay brokerage fees, taxes, insurance, and other costs. She was scammed out of a total of $62,000.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm so broken. Till now, I'm so broken because I take out all my life saving. I even take my line of credit of $54,000.
Signs of a romance scam: when someone declares their love for you quickly, they make excuses not to meet in person, you're told not to discuss a relationship with others, and you're asked for money for travel or an emergency. Both women say they should have seen the red flags sooner and wanted to share their story to warn others.
I feel so stupid because I should have avoided, this could have been avoided. Like, probably I should have gone to the police from the beginning.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
And now we turn our attention to the stock markets. The Canadian dollar is down 0.05 of a cent. The price of gold is up $27.50. Oil is down $1.12. Natural gas is down 3 cents. Aluminum is down $30. In Toronto, the TSX is up 206.78 points. The Venture Index is up 5.69. In New York, the Dow Jones is up 654.27 and NASDAQ is up 176.15. Still ahead, an Ontario company's alleged role in a pyramid scheme is investigated. Welcome back. An Ontario company is at the center of an international investigation for its alleged role in an elaborate pyramid scheme. It supposedly took advantage of hundreds of thousands of investors and disappeared with over $2 billion. CTV's Adrian Gobriel reports.
A crime crafted by a Canadian-based company, carried out across the world.
It's like whack-a-mole. Every time you find one, you close it down, another one pops up.
Metaverse Foreign Exchange, also known as MTFE, pitched itself as a reputable trading platform. It was even registered with Canada's money laundering watchdog, FinTrack. Now a joint investigation by the Investigative Journalism Foundation and CTV National News reveals that names associated with MTFE are part of a network of dozens of Canadian shell companies believed to be peddling cryptocurrency investment schemes. Marketed heavily to investors in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, hundreds of thousands of people in those countries invested their money using MTFE's online app. In August 2023, the Canadian company's platform went offline, leaving clients in the dark. An estimate of more than $2 billion vanished.
I don't think people expect something like that to happen in a country like Canada.
In Bangladesh, one corporate lawyer has been following the money trail.
I think the target market for these products are the more vulnerable population.
Our investigation into Metaverse Foreign Exchange led us here to this office building in Markham, Ontario, Unit 500 to be exact. Once we began digging even deeper, we found a total of 97 money service businesses that have all used that one suite as their address. So we decided to follow the trail and pay Unit 500 a visit.
Hi, how are you? Good. My name's Adrian Gobriel. I'm with CTV National News.
Inside, we found a shared office space. A manager whose identity we're protecting alleges that there's a list of criminal companies using this location as their business address.
We can't keep track of the people that are using it.
In Sri Lanka, a criminal investigation has been opened. Court records show 3 people have been arrested for money laundering, and that MTFE's parent company in Canada allegedly pocketed 30 to 40% of all service fees. FinTrack has suspended Metaverse's registration, though the director of Canada's Money Service Business Association believes the culprits behind this apparent made-in-Canada scam may have vanished, with far more than the $2 billion being reported.
Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
That's all of our news for now. From everyone at CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.